The gold became dim. The sons of Zion turned to dust in the street. But prophecy said Edom joy going. Watch the flip. Tables turning sheets. How the gold turned in with a shining. Stones of the temple, they grinding. Sons of Zion, we divine black. Now the world see true rewinding. Eat them laughing, but the clock keeps slow. They rejoicing now, but they ain't gon' show. Judah still breathing, faith don't fold. Most high coming back, he reclaim gold blue. Gold turned in, but we pure in the core. Blood on the soil, they don't open that door. Zion cry out from the block to the shore. With the change took corporate war. We was kings, not slaves in chains. Built a city, now they profit our pain. Stones of the sanctuary poured in the street. Crown got cracked, but the spirit don't sleep. Famine hit hard, moms cry tears. Babes in the dust, no bread, no years. Eat them laugh loud, think judgment delayed. But the wrath coming fast, it's already in play, yeah. How the gold turned on with a shining. Stones of the temple, they grinding. Sons of Zion, we divine black. Now the world see truth, rewinding. Eat them laughing, but the clock ticks slow. They rejoicing now, but they ain't gon' show. Judah still breathing, faith don't fold. Most high coming back, he reclaim gold. Eat them rejoicing, but that joy sure live. Oh, but I wrote it, that's what it is. Payback double for the dirt they did. Prophets outside, we don't play no kid. Bred by the sword, still living on edge. Skin blacked out from the famine and dread. Wilderness heat got us counting our steps, but we still here. Never lost, never dead, we the sons here. Get a fine, go testify, made pure. Tribulation, invested streets filled with saints. Whole crew resurrected, judgment gon' drop, that's divine correction. How the gold turned in, we the ones they forgot. But the scroll still reads, so the story don't ride. Eat them laughing now, but the sky gon' talk. When the trumpet sound loud, every knee gon' drop. Hey, how the gold turned in with a shining. Stones of the temple, they grinding. Sons of Zion, we divine black. Now the world see true rewinding. Eat them laughing, but the clock ticks slow. They rejoicing now, but they ain't gon' show. Judah still breathing, faith don't fold. Most high coming back, he reclaim gold fruit. Precious sons of Zion, refine that lost. Babylon rejoice now, but the ending comes. Edom's laugh of faith when the trumpet's called. Gold turned in, but we still stand tall.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Let's give all praises, honor, glory, esteem to the Father, the Ancient of Days, the giver of life, the taker of life, our Father, Yahweh, and his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings to all our Akim out there, the Akwat Yam, the brothers and sisters scattered to the four corners of the earth. We say peace and blessings to you. Please do the ministry a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell so you can be notified when we go live. Hit the thumbs up. And if you believe in your heart and mind that it's edifying, please share it with someone. Sister Adriana, she says, Shalom, I'm glad I made it live today. Khan. All praises be to the Most High. Yeah, usually I do it later, but I know that a lot of people be doing stuff, especially on the first day of the week. And some people are back east in the Midwest, all over the place. You know, we scattered to the four corners of the earth. So I said, let me bring it up earlier so that way people can have a chance to try to get in live. So Tawada for being here. Shalom to you. All praises be to the Most High. It's not going to be a long one today, but I did want to touch on some of these things about the Cush and Ethiopia and why it was changed and things of that nature. So let's just dive right into it, right? Let's just go into it. Once again, Tawada, thank you for everybody that's here, and we'll tune in and we'll see it at a later time. I still say thank you, Tawada. Let's go to the scriptures. We'll start right here. Job chapter 9, real quick. Job chapter 9. If you have your Bibles, laptop, computers, please turn to Job 9. If not, you could just watch the screen because it is on the screen. Job 9 and 24. Once again, all praises be to the Most High for waking us up this morning, giving another day for life. You know, mercy, compassion is new every morning, as it says in the book of the Lamentations, chapter 3, 22 on down. So all praises be to the Most High for waking us up this morning, giving us another day on his first day of the week. We breaking bread on the first day of the week, right? So we can have that bread continuously throughout the course of these days. Job 9:24 says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Food for thought is we have to think the earth that we're living in, that we're upon at this very moment in 2026, June 21st it is, that it was given over into the wicked. Now, it's not a new concept, because when we think of this and it says that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, well, we know Satan was cast down unto the earth. And in the book of Revelation, it says, woe into the inhabitants of who? The earth, right? He came down with great wrath, rage. He's angry. So that's why this earth that we live in is given into the hands of the wicked. When we go to Job chapter 1, we'll see real quick, right? As we read right here, let me see, pull it up. Job 1:6, it says, now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan, Hasatan, came also among them. So he's there amongst the sons of the Most High. And Yahweh said unto Hasatan, where comest thou? This is what Satan, Hasatan, is saying. This is what he said. Satan answered Yahweh and said, from going to and fro in the earth. So this is why the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. Why? Because Satan, Hasatan, this serpent, this devil, this deceiver, he's all up in the mix in the earth. He's crawling around. He's just everywhere. You know, like it says, he's in the spirit of the air, the prince of the air. He's just floating around everywhere, trying to cause mischief, lies, deceit, murder. Like it says, the enemy came to kill, steal, and destroy, right? So he says, where have I been? I'm going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. This is where he's at, right? As Peter says in Peter 5, right? I just want to be understood that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, right? What verse is that where he says, right here, verse 8, right? He said, because your adversary, who is your adversary? Hasatan, this devil, this serpent, right? This is why he's telling you, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about. Where? Where is he walking about at? In the earth. He's here with us. He's right there with you right now. As you receiving the word, he's right there with you right now. That spirit, that prince of the air, right? And I'm going to show you that. Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. He wants to devour you. He wants to take your faith. He wants to tear down your walk. He doesn't want you to believe in the Most High. He doesn't want you to believe in truth. And this whole thing is what? About truth. That's what Hamashiach Yahushua said in John chapter 8, right? Let's get that. John 8. Shalom. John chapter 8. 31. It says, then said Yahushua to those Jews which believed on him, if you continue in my word. So what do we have to do? We have to continue in his word. A lot of people don't continue in the word. A lot of people just say they believe, you know, but do you really believe? Mayana Pasha, she's in the building. She says, Shalom Mashkapa, call her Yahweh Ba Shama Mashiach Yahushai. Then she also says, Shalom Aqua. And then Sister Adriana says, Shalom, beloved Aqua Mayan Pasha Khan. So we have to continue in his word. Then are you my disciples indeed? See, people forget this part. The only way you are his disciple is if you continue in his word. But people say that the word is done away with, which is the law, and we don't need the word. So how can you be his disciple if you saying that the word is done away with? Because when we look at this right here and we say the word, right, his word, continue in my word. What is his word? We'll come right back to John 8:31, but just think of this concept real quick, brothers and sisters. Food for thought. What is his word? When Yahweh Shai right here saying this in John 8:31, what is his word? He said, then said Yahweh Shai to those Jews which believed on him, right? They believe, they have faith in the only begotten son of Mashiach Yahweh Shai. It says, if ye continue in my word. Now, food for thought, what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, is what is his word? Then he goes on to say on this last part, then are ye my disciples indeed. So let me show you what his word is real quick, and then we'll come right back to that. Deuteronomy 18 and verse, let me blow it up real quick. Deuteronomy 18:18. Here's his word. This is why he's called the word. He has the title as the word, right? Here it is. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, verse 18, it says, I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and I will put my words. Who is this speaking? The Most High. He says, the Most High, Yahweh, the Ancient of Days, the giver of life, the taker of life, our Father, Abanawa Yahweh. He says that he's going to put his words. I will put my words in his what? Mouth. So everything that he spoke out of his mouth was the words of the Most High. And he's telling you in John 8 that if you continue in his word, right, that you will be his disciple indeed. Now, what is his word? The same word that the Most High has given him. He's telling you right here in Deuteronomy 18, I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them. Who? When he comes to the earth, he's going to speak as he's speaking to those Jews that's in front of him in John 8:31, which we're going to go back to. And he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. Verse 19, and it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he, who is the he? Mashiach Yahweh Shai, the only begotten son, shall speak in my name. We know Mashiach Yahweh Shai came in the Father's name. It says, I will require it of him. So when we think about that, now we have that food for thought. When we go back to John 8:31, and it says right here, then said Yahweh Shai to those Jews which believed on him, if you continue in my what? Word. That's the word that the Father gave him, the commandments, everything that the Father gave him, he brought to the earth. And he's saying, if you believe in the very word that the Father has given me, that I have come down and relayed to you, then and only then are you my disciples indeed. And with that baraka, right, in 32 it says, and ye shall know the what? Truth. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So what is truth? Well, the truth is that the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. The truth is that Satan, Hasatan, is all up in the mix in the earth, doing what he do, right? Promising people things of this earth. People working so hard on their jobs, on their careers, on everything about this earth, that he says that he will give them. But you must bow down to him. See, in order to get the things of the earth and the treasures of the earth, you have to bend and you have to bow down to him in some type of way. I know people are going to say, oh, no, I don't. Okay. Think about your life and how much time you give to the Most High. Think about your life and how much time you give to His only begotten Son. Some people don't even have time and enough in the day to even read one scripture, one chapter, one chapter. They don't even have time enough to read one chapter in the very word that's their bread for the day, let alone a verse. Some people don't even pray out the whole course of the day. They wake up, take their shower, tend to the kids, the family, jump in the car, run to work, at work 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, get off of work, run to the store, shop, this, come home, eat, shower, watch TV. The day is over with. The whole day went by. You didn't even say thank you, Abba. You didn't even say all praises, Abba. You was too consumed with what? The world. And that's exactly what he wants you to be. He wants you to be consumed with this world and not pay attention to what? The truth. In Matthew chapter 4, as you see on the screen, right? I love this because this is the classic, right? Sister Adriana says, Yahushua is the word and Torah, the law. He came to show the law in person. Khan, all praises. Beautiful comment. Beautiful, beautiful. Khan. She also puts, he came to do the will of the Most High Yahweh. All praises be to the Most High Yahweh. That he definitely did. In verse 4, it says right here in Matthew, the water for that comment, Sister Adriana. It says, but he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone. Meaning, yeah, you got to eat. You got to feed your body, right? But by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Most High. And if you don't know every word that he delivered to us that was written aforetime for our learning, then you may be deceived, right? This devil, this serpent, he may be able to come down and get into you and deceive you in some type of way where you don't know the truth. You don't know what's going on. And see, this is why we're going into this today, to why these people change the name from Cush to Ethiopia, right? Because who is Cush to people? People don't know. Some people do. Now, I'm not going to lie. Some people do know who Cush is. But a lot of people don't. The majority of the people on the earth do not know who Cush is. They just know Ethiopia, right? Now, before we move on, I want to get one more right here. Verse 8, it says again, this devil, this serpent, Satan, he taketh them up unto an exceeding high mountain and showeth him what? All the kingdoms of the world and the glory, right? So all these kingdoms, we think about the kingdoms now. United States is a kingdom. Britain is a kingdom. Russia is a kingdom, right? All of these kingdoms. South Korea is a kingdom. China is a kingdom, right? All of these kingdoms. And he saith unto him, all these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. See, the things of this world, where you partake and you want something from this world, you want to hold on to it, you want that power, you want that authority, you want whatever it is in this world. What you have to realize is that Satan is saying, yeah, I can give you those things. You want $100 million? I can work it out for you. You want $20,000? I could work it out for you. You want a new home? You want this? You want that? I can work it out for you. But in order to get that thing, you might have to, you might have to take a little bit from here. You might have to steal a little bit from here. When you're filling out that application, you may not be able to tell the 100% truth. So you might have to put a little white lie, right? You might have to lie a little bit on the application and just say, no, I don't make this amount, I make that amount, or no, that child doesn't live with me, knowing very well that they live with you and they work and you get income from them, but you can't put it on the paperwork because then you wouldn't be approved for the loan for the home, right? So these are things and tricks and schemes how Satan gets you into this lie to get things of what? This world. Then saith Yahweh unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship Yahweh thy power, and him only shalt thou serve. How come the churches don't read that? How come everybody's just worshiping the Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shah? Why they're not worshiping the Father? Why they're not giving glory to Abinawa Yahweh? Why they not falling down worshiping him? But everybody fall down and worship the Son, but they don't worship the Most High Yahweh. Why? Because the earth was given into the hands of the wicked, right? 1 Corinthians chapter 14, and I'm going to just go straight to it, 33, right? Remember, the Most High and his only begotten Son, it says right here, 1 Corinthians 14 and 33, for Elohim is not the author of what? Confusion. He doesn't want you to be confused. He wants you to know the truth. And he says, if you follow me and you follow my word, then you will be a what? True disciple indeed. Not the confusion, not to confuse, but of what? Peace, as in all churches of the saints. Now let's go here. Let's bust it wide open real quick. Genesis chapter 10, right? Now we all know that Noah, he did the flood, right? And after the flood, it says right here, as we continue to read, Genesis 10 and 5, it says, but these were the isles of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, and after their nations. Now, I know today we say black, we say white, we say Mexican, Hispanic, we say Indian or Native American and all these different things. We say Russian and we say all of these different German and all of these different things, right? But let me just show something before we read that real quick. Let me just show something real quick. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Here it is. Let me just share this. Now, I'm not going to read all of this. If you want to read it, it's on the screen, right? I just want you to know, and I just want you to see who came up with this thing, right? Black, Negro, Caucasian, yellow people, and all of these other different terminologies that they have. But you see it on the screen as it says Europeans did around the 17th century, right? It's telling you a French traveler right here in 1684. So what were people before he came along and gave you this chart? Who was credited with publishing the first comprehensive modern classification of what? Humans. It tells you up here too, to classify what? Human beings. And justify systems like colonialism and slavery. They're trying to justify it. So you telling me a European came up with the chart? Of course he's going to put himself at the top. What person would create something and not make themselves at the top and put themselves at the bottom? Does that make any sense? But it's telling you that this didn't even come along until the 17th and 18th century. Where they did what? To classify human beings. To try to justify what? Slavery. Telling you right here, simple. 1684. This man. He published it. The classification of humans. Now, can he do this? Can a man classify Or does the Most High, who is the creator, who gives life and death, does he do the classification? Or a man that's created on his own, he's created, he's a created being. How can he come to the earth and say what people are now? That doesn't even make any sense. That he's given power over these people to classify them what they are and who they are and what they're going to be. It says dividing humanity. That's what he came to do, divide. But it was already divided by who? The Most High. And then it shows right here. Here it is, right? There it is. A German professor. I thought I highlighted this right here. Right, there it is. A German professor. So we're talking about a German, right? Caucasian, who expanded these classifications into 5 distinct categories, Salakia, right? Then it goes on to tell you Caucasian, Mongolian, American, Ethiopian, right? Had to put Ethiopian in there. Where's the so-called African American? Where's the so-called black man at? Huh? Then it tells you right here, the transatlantic slave trade, right? Whiteness and blackness. During the early years, it was formalized. Global slave trade, right? Europeans what does it say? Europeans. They did this. Constructed racial laws to legally separate enslaved Africans from what? White. So this is why this thing was created. We can come back to it, but I just wanted to show you that, right? That's why that was created. Now, when we go here, it was no need for him to do that, right? But he didn't like what the Bible said. But they claim that they believe in the Bible. Genesis 10:5, it says, but these were the isles of the Gentile divided in their land, everyone after his own tongue, and their families, and their nations, and the sons of who? Ham. Now, Noah had how many sons? Verse 1 in Genesis 10, it says, now these are the generations of the sons of who? Noah. Remember, Noah was on the flood. He built the ark. It was only him, his 3 sons, and their wives. And it says Noah had a son named Shem. He had a son named Ham. And he also had a son named Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood. So this is what we're speaking about, after the flood. So everybody that came after the flood came through these 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So every nation that we know of today come from these men. And then it goes on to tell you, we're not focusing on verse 2, but it says Japheth had sons, which are Gomer, Magog, right? And when you read about this, these are certain nations of people in the world today. Now, if you go to look on the map, it's not going to show you Gomer. It's not going to show you Magog. Why? Because they changed the names. They gave them new names. So that people, when they read the Bible, they wouldn't know who is speaking about. But today we're talking about Cush a little bit. Like I said, I'm not going to keep you long, but today that's who we're speaking about. So let's go back down to verse 5. Actually, we read 5. Let's go to 6. And it says, and the sons of Ham. Now we know Ham is who? Noah's son. So Ham had sons, and his sons that he had a son named Cush. He also had a son named Mizraim. He also had a son named Put, and he also had a son named Canaan. Right? So Ham had a few sons. Now, the only one that you may recognize here is Canaan. Some people don't even recognize that. But the land of Canaan, or Canaan, which was a son, he went out after he was born and he became of age, and he went and took a piece of a land where they dwelled. And that land is called the land of Canaan to this very day. But those people who do not know that, they would call it something else in a modern day term, right? But the ones who know this know that that landmass that they're still fighting over today, I think they're fighting right now, is the land of Canaan. But we're speaking about Cush, right? So who is Cush? So when you jump down to verse 8 right here, it says, and Cush, which is Ham's son, Cush had a son named what? Nimrod. And who is Nimrod? Do people realize and know who Nimrod is? Well, it's going to tell you. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. Remember, the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. Remember this. Nimrod became a mighty one in the earth. Had a lot of power, had a lot of authority. He actually had a kingdom. Brothers and sisters, remember what I read to you in Matthew chapter 4 just a minute ago. Satan says, I will give you all of the kingdoms of the world. All you have to do is what? Bow down to me. Khan, yes, it definitely is, Sister Adriana. I just seen that she said, Salakia, is it Mizraim, Egypt? Yes, it is. It definitely is. Khan. Let me see if it'll show it real quick. That's the name of his son, Mizraim, but of course they changed it into what? There it is, Egypt. I just wanted to show it so you can, not only you, but anybody else that may see this at a later time. Right. You see in the Bible, Mizraim is used Egypt 586 times. Egyptian 90 times. But the actual name that the land, because of the man who went and, possessed that piece of land, Mizraim is used 4 times in the Bible. Isn't that crazy? So if you say Mizraim, some people know, like I say, those people who know, all praises. But a lot of people do not know that that is the land of what? Egypt. As it says right here, the inhabitants are natives of what? Egypt. Yes, so you're 100% correct, sister. And all of these names are lands. That's what I'm kind of going into. Cush, Mizraim, Put, Canaan. Why are they lands? Because these men were born, and at this time they went out and they conquered pieces, or no, I don't want to even say conquered. They just went and picked pieces of land and built up what you would call their society. Just as Cush did, just as Mizraim did, just as Put did, just as Canaan did, all of them. And those names are still here today. But they have changed everything. Why? Because the earth was given into the hands of the wicked. I already showed you the system that was created by who? The Europeans, to categorize everybody and say, no, you're not that. You're a Native American. No, you're not black. Or no, you're not a Negro. You're African American. No, you're not. You're not that. You're Hispanic. You're Mexican. You're this. You're that. No, it had already been determined by the Most High. So verse 8 says, Cush begot Nimrod. He became to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahweh. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahweh. And listen to this. And the beginning of his kingdom. So Nimrod had a kingdom, as it says. And his kingdom was what? Babel, which is where we get Babylon from. And Babel means what? Let's click on it. Remember, I read to you 1 Corinthians 14 and 13, brothers and sisters. Let's see what that word means. Let's click on it. It's the H, which is the Hebrew 894, Babel. Let's click on it and see what it means, brother and sisters. The outline biblical usage, it says Babel or Babylon. What does that say? Confusion. But I just read to you in 1 Corinthians 14 and 33, it says that the Most High, the only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushua, and his Father are not the authors of what? Confusion. But this place, Babel, that Nimrod was ruler over, because that was his kingdom, it was a place of what? Confusion. As we are in modern day Babylon right now, a place of what? Confusion. You could be whatever you want to be, as they tell you in America. Oh, you could be whatever you want to be. Come to America. You could be this, you could be that. It's great opportunities here. Whatever you couldn't do in your own country, you come here and you can do it. Sky is the limit. All you have to do to receive these things of this world or this country is bow down. That's all you got to do. You have to bow down. And if you don't bow down, America's a big bully. What do? They go around bullying people until they what? Bow down. Why? Because that's what Satan said you have to do. In order to receive this power, in order to receive this kingdom that I'm giving you, what do you have to do? You have to bow down. Anybody that, I don't have one in front of me right now. Let me see. Anybody who has $1 on them. Let me put this on here. I don't know if it'll see because I got this background. Anybody, no, it's too. Anybody who has an American dollar on them right now, right? This is an American dollar that I'm holding in my hand, right? If you see this, just turn it around. All you got to do is turn it around. You can't really see it because of my background job, but all you got to do is turn it around and you see the pyramid on it, right? And then you'll see the Latin writing right up under the pyramid. For those who speak Latin, if you have an American dollar, turn it around, right? I know it's hard for you to see with my backdrop, but if you have an American dollar, turn it around, look at the pyramid, and then read the Latin writing under that pyramid. And it's going to tell you who they serve. They're not hiding this stuff. It's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. And the pyramid represents what? Egypt. And they're telling you the Most High are the deity that they serve. And under the, let me see. And under the pyramid, the last step of the pyramid, it has writings there. So what I'm trying to tell you, brothers and sisters, they're not hiding this information. It's not hid. Sister Adriana says, Salakia, Nimrod is where the religion started. It's all confusion. It's all confusion. It all started, yes, right here. Because after the flood, right? After the flood, it was just Noah. Noah believed in the Most High. But remember, when Noah got off the boat, he got drunk, right? He had a vineyard. Now, one of his sons didn't laugh at him, didn't mock him, right? But one son did. What son was that? It was Ham. Ham had Cush. Cush had Nimrod. So all of this stuff comes from what? Confusion. Remember, 1 Corinthians 4:14 and 13. Babel, i.e. Babylon, including Babylonia. It was an empire. Still to this very day. Right? Still to this very day. So why did everything change? Right? Why was the name changed? Well, wasn't changed until later on. Let me show this real quick, and then I'll show you in the book of Maccabees. Let's read this real quick. Okay, I'll put this on the screen, right? Now, like I say, I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's on the screen. If you want to come back and you want to read this whole thing, all praise be to the Most High. But here it says that Cush, which we just talked about, which I'm showing you, I showed you in Genesis chapter 10. Cush had a son, Nimrod. He had made a kingdom, which is Babel, which is Babylonian or Babylon, and it's full of confusion and all kind of stuff that, you know, goes against the Most High. This is why he went down and confounded their language, right? Because they was trying to make war with who? The Most High. They said, we're going to make war against the Most High. But who did this? It says the Greeks first translated the Hebrew name Cush to Ethiopia. Now, my question is, did the Greeks have authority from the Most High, the Ancient of Days, the giver of life, the taker of life, the Father, the creator of all things? Did the Greeks have authority to come in and change the Hebrew name to Ethiopia? But then this is why. Listen what it says. Meaning what? The land of what? Burnt face. Or burnt faces. Just like it gives the description about Hamashiach Yahushua in Revelations chapter 1, 14 on down, that his skin was so dark as if it was what? Burnt in a furnace. Doesn't necessarily mean that these are the same people or nationality or nations of people, because we know that Hamashiach Yahushua was not, and he didn't come from Cush. So they're not the same nation of people. But because we don't know and haven't been taught in the right manner, you think because a person has melanated skin that we're all one people, and that's not true. Ham was a so-called, as you would say, melanated man. Somebody might say black man, right? I reject that terminology, but this is what people may say. Shem was a so-called, or was a melanated man. I would like to say so-called black man, but once again, I reject that term. Japheth was a melanated man, which you would say is a so-called black man, but I reject that term. Now, if you say, well, if all his sons were melanated men, how did these other people come about? Well, when you read and you have the understanding, Japheth went up into where it was cold at. This is where you get Magog, which is like Russia, and things of this nature. And over time, in those particular elements, they lost some of their melanin. This is why it's important for you to go out into what? The sun, because it gives you what? Vitamin D. If you don't go out into the sun and you can't be in the sun, then you're lacking a particular element that the body needs, which is what? Vitamin D. You need that. But as we move on, you can see it says it was changed. Cush was changed to what? Ethiopia, meaning land of what? Burn faces in ancient times. However, the modern nation of Ethiopia officially adopted the name for itself in when? The 4th century. So for all these years, thousands and thousands and thousands of years, way back from Genesis chapter 10 into the 4th century, as we know today, AD, after the death of our brother and friend Mashiach Yahushai, these Greeks come along and then they change the name to Ethiopia. And then, after they changed the name, they converted to what? Christianity. Huh? Isn't that something? After the Greeks came and pushed up on Cush in the land of Cush, changed the name to Ethiopia, and then made them convert to what? Christianity. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Now, if we go back real quick, watch this. I said I was going to go to Maccabees. Now we're speaking about the Greeks, right? We're speaking about the Greeks. Now this is after Alexander, after he died. Alexander the Greek. They would say the Great, but the Greek. This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, and verse 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom. Notice to keep talking about kingdoms. And I told you, brothers and sisters, in the book of Matthew, chapter 4, verse 8, in order to get these kingdoms, Satan says you have to bow down and worship him. The kingdoms of the earth, in order to get this power and authority, you have to bow down and worship Satan, the devil, the deceiver, because he is the one that's in the earth, going to and fro. He has the power and authority in the earth. So anyway, Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be what? One people. But that's not what the Most High said. The Most High divided the nations. The Most High divided the nations. You might say, well, where does it say in the Bible that the creator of heaven and earth divided the nations? Let me show you that before we read this. Let me show you that real quick, and then we'll read this. Deuteronomy chapter 32, real quick. Let's go there. Deuteronomy 32. My doctrine shall drop as the rain. My speech shall distill as dew, as a small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon grass, because I will publish the name of Yahweh. Ascribe ye greatness unto our power. He is the rock. His work is perfect. For all his ways are judgment, and the Most High of truth, and without iniquity, just and right is he. They have corrupted themselves. Their spot is not the spot of his children. They are a perverse and crooked generation. Do ye thus requite Yahweh, O foolish people and unwise? Is not he the Father that have brought thee? Have he not made thee and established thee? Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations, brothers and sisters. Ask thy father, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee. When the Most High, who did it? The Most High. Who did it? Once again, the Most High, the Ancient of Days, the Giver of Life, the Taker of Life. When the Most High divided the nations, which are people, their inheritance, when he separated, what did he do? He separated. Let me highlight that part. Oh, come on, computer. Goodness gracious. When he separated the sons of Adam, and he set bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. So the Most High separated people already. He divided the people, the nations, their inheritance. He had already gave them what they was going to get. Their land mass, where they was going to be, where they were going to dwell. But it says right here in verse 9, for Yahweh's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. If you don't understand that, I did a beautiful lesson yesterday through the Spirit, through the Rakah, the Kodash Rakah, yesterday on the Shabbat day about what an Israelite is. If you haven't watched that, I would encourage you to go back and watch that one, and it will go into great detail about the name Jacob and why his name was changed to what? Israel. So it was already determined. And it says the Most High divided the nations. So can this king, Antiochus, come and say that all people need to be one people now? No, he cannot. We're talking about the creator. Let me know if you can still hear me. My picture just went off. If not, I can stop and restart again. Just let me know if you can still hear me. Right here in the New Living Translation, it says, when the Most High assigned lands to the nations, when he divided up the human race, he established the boundaries of the people according to the number of the heavenly court. So can some man come along later after the Most High don't divide it and assign the lands to the people, to the nations, and divide it up to what? Human race? Can some man come along later and say we all gonna be one people? It says the Most High, the creator of heaven and earth, had divided. So how can a man come along later and tell you, as we're going to read in Maccabees, that we're all going to be one people? That makes no sense. That makes no sense. Says I can hear you, Khan. Let me try to start it. And one sisters, brothers and sisters, Salaki. I hate when it does it. I'm gonna try one time and then we'll get back to it. So I'm gonna stop it and then we'll come right back. Give me 1 second. Bear with me. Technical difficulty. Here we go. Okay, back on. Let me know. Mayana Pasha, she says we can hear you, car. As long as you guys can hear me, it's all good. If it happens again, and you can hear me, I'm gonna just try to push through. Um, Not gonna hold you too much longer, but let's go back where we was real quick, right? So, like I was saying, as it reads right there, and even in the NIV, it says, "When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when He divided all mankind." So, nope. Okay, computer is just hot, brothers and sisters. As long as you guys can hear me, yeah, you back on, As long as you can hear me, it's all good. You know, let me know if you can't hear me though. Just put it in the chat. Let me know. But for right now, as it says, when the Most High gave the nations, He set up the boundaries for the people according to the number of the sons of Israel, right? And that's what He did. So He divided all mankind. So to make a long story short, let's go back to Maccabees, right? So right here, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. Can he do that? Can this Greek do that? No, he can't. The Most High already made the decree. So no man can come along later, Antiochus, Alexander, whoever, and write to some people and say we're going to be one people. No, that goes against the very word of the Most High Yahweh. And then he says in verse 42, everyone should leave his law. So whatever you believed in before, you got to leave that and believe in what they believe in now. So all the heathen agreed. Who did? The heathen agreed according to the commandment of who? This king, this Greek king. 43. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. They turned from their back on the Most High and believed what this Greek king said, and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem into the cities of Judea, that they should follow the strange laws of the land of the Greeks. Basically, just keep it real. That they should follow the laws of the Greeks. That's what it really is. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple. And they should profane the Sabbath day and the festival. Why? Because they hate the Most High. They were going against the Most High. Why? Because the earth had been given into the hands of the wicked. These men had a kingdom, and already showed to you in Matthew 4 and 8, in order to have power and authority in this earth and be having or over a kingdom, which is really ran by Satan, Hasatan, he's going to have you do things that are contrary to what the Most High wants you to do. So this is why this Greek king had these people profaning the Sabbath day and the feast days, 46, and what? Polluting the sanctuary and the Kodash people. They set up altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice what? Swine's flesh, pig, which is an abomination in Leviticus chapter 11, and unclean beasts. Why would they need to do this? Because they know it goes against the Most High. And they wasn't really doing it themselves. It's Satan telling them to do this. It's Satan telling them, hey, take swine flesh in the temple. Hey, sacrifice unclean beast in the temple. Have the people profane the Sabbath day because he knows that that's a sign between him and his people. So Satan is using the Greeks to bring this mischief within the earth. Just like he did with Ethiopia, the land of Cush. He made them turn to what? Christianity. Verse 48. that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable to who? The Most High. With all manner of uncleanness, right? This is what these people did. Not only to the children of Israel, but across the whole world. That's why it's no longer the name of, as the sister said earlier, is it Mizraim, Egypt? Yes. Is in the land of Canaan called something else? Some people will call it Palestine. Some people will call it Israel today. But no, it's the land of Canaan. These places were already given names in the Bible. So why did man have to come along later and change these things? 49, to the end they might forget what? The law, and change all the ordinances. So why did these people change the names? Why did they change laws? Why did they change and make people do things under their rulership? It all is a two so they could forget about the Most High. That's why. And people can forget who they are. That's why it says in Jeremiah, people don't know who they are. People are walking around calling themselves an American. This country, it said, is celebrating this year 250 years. That's only 2 or 3 generations. So who were you before this became America? Who were you? Definitely you're not an American. So who are you? What is your nationality? But people say, I'm an American. I'm a Colombian. I'm a Salvadorian. I'm Mexican from Mexico. I'm Guatemalan. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm from Cuba. I'm from Puerto Rico. I'm from Jamaica. I'm from the West Indies. I'm from the Virgin Islands. What are you talking about? These are names that were given to you by your enslaver. Just as the Greeks did right here. And it says in verse 50, and whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, this Greek king, mind you, he said he should what? Die. So if you would not hearken or listen or pay attention to this European, or Salakia, my bad, this Greek, because Europeans are different from Greeks. So if you would not pay attention to this Greek and follow his commandment to be one people, you should die. In the self-same manner, he wrote to his whole kingdom. So whoever lived within inside of his kingdom, meaning all the landmass that he was king over, and let's be, if you know the history, Alexander the Great conquered pretty much everything. And then he died and they split it between certain people. And this is one of them right here. Because nobody was on this side of the world that we live in on the Western side yet, as we know it. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But as we know it through history, not quite yet. But maybe it was. But whatever this man had rulership at over the landmass, it says, in the self-same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding them the cities of Judea to sacrifice city by city. Complete rulership. Complete rulership. Let's go back here real quick. Let me know if I'm still coming through on the audio, brothers and sisters. I know the screen is black, but as long as I'm coming through on the audio, it's good. Acts chapter 17, real quick. I'm going to just go straight to it, verse 26. Let me see. Verse 26, Acts 17 and 26. 26, it says, and have made of one blood, what? All nations. Everybody comes from Adam. Then after the flood, everybody cut from Noah and his 3 sons, which is still from who? Adam, right? Noah had 3 sons and all those things, but it still comes from who? Adam. For to dwell on all the face of the earth, he have determined the times before appointed, and the what? Boundaries of their inhabitations. So clearly, brothers and sisters, those lands were already given to a particular people from the beginning of time through the Most High. Let me see how it renders in any comparative text. Let's read New Living. It says, from one man, he created all people. Nations mean people, right? So from one man, he created all nations of people throughout the whole earth. He decided beforehand when they should rise and fall. And he determined their what? Boundaries, brothers and sisters. Everything was already predestined. And here come man and tell you, no, we're going to all be one people. Why can't we all just get along? Well, because that's not the way the Most High that created us wanted it to be. So it can never be that. It will never, ever, ever be that, because that's not the way the Creator designed it to be. That's how man wants it to be. The NIV says, from one man he made all nations, that they should inhabit the whole earth. And he marked out their appointed times in history and the boundaries of what? Their lands. So if the Most High has already given people a particular land, you can't come later as another man and take that land and call it something else, or put another name on it, or give them people another, I don't even want to say another, well, they gave them another name, another race, another, try to give them another nationality almost, basically, right? And people, the modern day people, they don't know when you say Ethiopian that these people are attached to who? Cush. They're attached to who? Nimrod. They're attached to who? The Tower of Babel, which is confusion. And this is why when we read things in the Bible, let's go here. This is why when we read certain things in the Bible, this is Zephaniah 2:1. It says, gather yourself together, ye gathered together, O nations, not who? Desired. These people are not desired, right? They're not desired. Let me jump down to verse 10, right? Here it is, verse 10. Let me see. Sister Adriana says, you good. We can also see, and the screen is good. Con. She says, can hear fine. Con. As long as you guys can hear me. All praises. Right? Zephaniah 2:10. This shall they have for their pride, because they have reapproached and magnified themselves against. That's the most important part. Against the people of Yahweh of hosts, against his children, Israel. Verse 11. Yahweh, the Most High, the Ancient of Days, will be terrible unto them, for he will famish all their deities, or the deities of the earth, right? I don't say gods, even though they little gods. And man shall worship him, every one from his place, even in all of the islands of what? The heathen. Then he goes on to say, you Ethiopians. Remember, I showed you in the Bible that they changed Cush to what? Ethiopia. We showed it earlier in the lesson. They changed it, and you almost 600 times, like 586 times. It says, ye Ethiopians, ye shall be slain by my what? Sword. But wait a minute. Ethiopians believe in the only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushua. Do they though? Because it says, and I showed you, that they were transformed to what? Christianity. And Christianity has a total different belief than the belief of the Most High and his one and true only begotten Son. So are they walking in truth? Because Ethiopians are really Cushites. And Cushites descend from who? Cush and Nimrod and the Tower of Babel and confusion. And in the Bible is written that those Cushites, this is not my words, brothers and sisters. This is what the Bible says. It is written in the Bible, in the book of the covenant, that those Ethiopians, those Cushites, shall be slain, killed by my sword. This is what the Most High said. We can get into any other comparative text. You see it right there. New King James, NLT, NIV, ESV. You Ethiopians also, you shall be slain by my sword. NLT, you Ethiopians will also be slaughtered by my sword, says Yahweh. Oh, in the NIV, look at this right here. All praises be to the Most High. In the NIV, it says, you Cushites, referring to Cush. Remember, that's who? Ham's son. And Ham was what? From Noah. You Cushites too will be slain by my sword. So you see, sometimes it says Cushites and sometimes it says Ethiopians. But it's important for us to know who Cush was, who the Cushites are, and why the name was changed to Ethiopian by the Greeks to really just deceive the people. And this is why people that are Cushites or Ethiopians say that they believe in the Most High and his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushua, in Christianity. But how? When he's telling you that those people are going to be slain by his sword. Those nations of people, and one of them are Cushites. Modern day what? Ethiopians. This is the Most High saying this. Let's show another one real quick. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 45. Isaiah 45. I'm going to go to verse 12. Actually, I'm going to read 11 first. All praises be to the Most High. This is Isaiah chapter 45, verse 11. Salakia. And thus saith Yahweh, the Quadash one of Yashra'Allah and his maker, ask me of things to come concerning my sons. Concerning who? Israel. And concerning the work of my hands, commanded ye me. I have made the earth and created man upon it. I, even my hands, have stretched out the Shemayim, and all their host have I commanded. I have raised him up in righteousness, and I will direct all his ways. He shall build my cities, and he shall not let go, Salakia, and he shall let go my captives, not for price nor reward, saith Yahweh of hosts. Here it is right here. Watch this. Isaiah 45 and 14. Thus saith Yahweh, the labor of Egypt, Mizraim, and merchandise of who? Ethiopia, you Cushites. This is what it's going into. And of the Sabians, men of stature, shall come over unto thee, and they shall be thine, and they shall come after thee in chains. This is why people say they don't like that Old Testament power. They don't like that God of the Old Testament. They can't take this. But this is what it is. Regardless of what you feel and how your emotions feel, this is what it really is. If you say you believe in it, then believe in it. You can't just believe in just only the New Testament. It says in chains they shall come over, and they shall fall down unto thee. They shall make supplication unto thee, saying, surely the Most High is in thee, and there is none else. There is no, basically, Allah or power other than him. Let me see how it renders in a comparative text real quick. I just want to see. In the New Living Translation, it says, this is what Yahweh says. You will rule the Egyptians. Rule. Uh-oh. You see it right there on the screen? It says in Hebrew, Cushites. You see it on the screen. This is what Yahweh says. The Ancient of Days, the giver of life, the taker of life, our Father, Yahweh. This is what he says, brothers and sisters. Not Yahweh, not me. But the Most High Yahweh, this is what he is saying. This is what Yahweh says. You will rule the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, and the Sabians. They will come to you with all their merchandise, and it will all be yours. They will follow you as prisoners in what? Chains. They will fall to their knees in front of you and say, the Most High is with you, and he is the Quadash one, or the Quadash. Power of the Most High Yahweh of Israel. There is none other. There is no other power. And he is the only power source. Right? Truly, thou art the Most High that hidest thyself. The power of who? Israel, the Savior. That's what I ask people all the time. Who is the Savior? Is it the only begotten Son, or is it the Father? Well, it's the Father through the only begotten Son. Verse 16, they shall all be ashamed and also confounded. All of them shall go into what? Here it is, brothers and sisters, the whole lesson. Confusion. They're in confusion. Those Ethiopians, those Cushites, they're in confusion. Talking about they got the oldest Bible and this and that, and they're, walking around with them things, and they living in caves, and they're in confusion. From the so-called Greeks that pushed this Christianity upon them. They're in confusion. They shall be ashamed and also confounded. All of them, they shall go into what? Confusion together. They're what? Make of what? Idols. That image. That image that they say that's not really Hamashiach Yahushai, but the image that everybody bows down to and portrays all throughout the churches in the world. We know the image that it's talking about. It says in verse 17, but Israel shall be saved. Who? Israel. Not a Cushite. It says, but Israel shall be saved in Yahweh with an everlasting what? Salvation. What are you talking about? So yes, brothers and sisters, to make a long story short, they changed these names up. Other people, other nationalities of people came along when they ruled certain kingdoms in power through Satan, through Hasatan, through the devil, through the serpent, to do what? Deceive people. That's his whole job. He's a liar. You know, he's the father of it. And he changes things so people get confused. He loves to bring what? Confusion, as it says in verse 16. And people start believing in things and think that they really believe when they really have no understanding of what the Bible or what the book of the covenant is really saying. This word is not for a Cushite. It's not. It's not for a Hamite. It's not for an Edomite. It's not for any other person but for who? Israel. I went over all these things again yesterday in the lesson about the kingdom. And anybody who believes that thing is in confusion. Because it says it's an everlasting what? Salvation. For who? Israel. And it says, ye shall not be ashamed, nor confounded. So Israel won't be ashamed, or they won't be confounded. A world without what? End. So Israel is its own world. Israel is its own world. This is why when you read John chapter 3 with that understanding, if you go to it and you go to verse 16, it says, for the Most High so loved Israel, which is his own world. That's what it really says right here. I know they put the word world, but what it's really saying is, for the Most High so loved Israel that he gave his only begotten son. And I'm going to back that up with a scripture right after this. For the Most High so loved Israel that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth on him should not perish but have what? Everlasting life. For the Most High sent not his son into what? The world, to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. The world is who? Israel. Once again, I'll show you. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 15. There it is there. And I'm going to just go straight to the comparative text to show it. This is Hebrews 9 and 15. That is why he is the one who mediates the new covenant between the Most High and the people, and people, so that all who are called can receive the eternal inheritance that the Most High has promised for them. For Hamashiach, the anointed one, the only begotten son, he died to set them free from the penalty of their sins they have committed under what? The first covenant, brothers and sisters. So the reason that Hamashiach, the only begotten son, in John 3:16, the reason he died, the reason he hung on the tree, the reason he was murdered by the Romans, the reason he shed his blood is for the penalty, as it says right here. I just highlight this part. He died to set them free from the penalty of the sins they had committed under the first covenant, the covenant at Mount Sinai in Exodus 20, with who? The children of Israel. That's why he died. It's telling you right here, he died for what? Those people that were under the first covenant. Didn't die for the whole mankind. He died for those that were under the covenant. It tells you in the NIV. Let's go down. For this reason, Hamashiach is the mediator of the new covenant, that those who were called may receive the promised eternal inheritance, now that he has died as a ransom to set them free. Who is the them? Israel. Free from their sins committed under what? The first covenant. It has nothing to do about anything else. He set them free that was under the first covenant. So when people come and say today, oh, he died for my sins. Who? You a Greek? A European? A Cushite? A Moabite? An Ammonite? That's not what the Bible says. The Bible doesn't say that. The Bible says right here in your Bible sitting on your desk, open it up, Hebrews 9 and 15, it says that he died as a ransom to set them free from the sins committed under the first covenant. In the first covenant, who were the people? Let me show it real quick as I did yesterday in the Shabbat class, Exodus 24. Let's go here. It says right here, let me go up a little bit. Exodus 24 and 6. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in the basin, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people. Of who? Israel. This is who Moses is talking to. And they said, all that Yahweh have said, we will do and be what? Obedient. There wasn't no Edomites there. Wasn't no Moabites there. It says, and Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which Yahweh had made with you concerning all these words. That blood covenant. This is why in Hebrews 9 and 15, this is why Hamashiach came and died. Because they didn't continue. They sinned. They sinned. So when we come back here in Hebrews 9, this is what it's saying. Let's see how it says in the CSB. Therefore, he is the mediator of the new covenant, so that those who are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance, because a death has taken place for the redemption for the transgressions committed under the first covenant. The first covenant was with the children of Israel. So if he died for the transgressions, as it says right here, committed under the first covenant, why now are people walking around in the earth in 2026 talking about that Hamashiach Yahushai, the anointed one, the Messiah, died for their sins? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? He died for your sins. Were you under the first covenant? Were your ancestors under the first covenant? If your ancestors were not under the first covenant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, then no, he did not die for your sins. Matter of fact, you don't even have sins, because in order to have sin, it's right here. 1 John chapter 3. Here it is right here. 1 John 3 and 4. Whosoever committed sin transgresseth also what? The law. For sin is the transgression of the law. So if your ancestors wasn't given the law on Mount Sinai, and they didn't enter into this blood covenant where Moses sprinkled the blood on them in the book of the law, or the book of the covenant, then you don't have no sin. What are you talking about? He died for your sins. What sin? You were never given any law. You wasn't divided up in this. I already broke it down to you in Genesis 10, all throughout in there. Acts 17, that he divided this way aforetime. So no, brothers and sisters, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Let's see. Sister Adrian said, she said, I can see that are. She says, Salakia, I seen that they have been promoting the Ethiopian Bible lately. They have. And they're going to continue to promote it because people don't know, and they say that they have the oldest Bible. How can you have the oldest Bible when it wasn't even given to you? You're a Cushite. What do you mean? Mayana Pasha, she said, I downloaded it from Amazon. She also said, Sister Adriana said, Caesar Borgia or Bergier, that's the picture of the image that everybody bows down to and worship. She also says, Sister Adriana, wow, just realized that even though I read it before it's nice and clear, we, Yashra were the only people under the covenant, fire precept. And that's where people get lost at, you know. But it's right here in black and white in the New Testament. In the New Testament. But people deny it because they just, you know, they're listening to what man say. They're listening to what man say. Sister Adriana says, bring it out. Bring it out, come on. Mayana Pasha, she says, does it apply to other nations attached to Yashar? Speaking about the law. Well, this is the thing. Yes and no. Right? Yes and no. What it means by yes is that those people that are amongst us, that are amongst Israel, they have to hearken to, right? And a great thing is to show in the book of the 10 Commandments when we go here, right? And many other things that you can go to. But when it speaks about the Sabbath day, right? This is one right here. Exodus 28. Even though they wasn't given the laws and they not attached to the laws in a blood covenant, but anytime that they so dwell or sojourn, not Salakia, sojourn, are they in the midst of the children of Israel, they still have to hearken and take heed to the laws under the Most High, because they would be up under those Israelites. Now, in certain aspects, it's certain things that you can do to them, like in the law. If you find a dead animal, right, you couldn't sell it to another fellow Israelite brother or sister. But can you sell it to another nation of people, a heathen, a Gentile? Yes, you can. But can you sell it to your brother? No. So there are certain things that are written in the law that you can do or pertain to a heathen or a Gentile that does not pertain to an Israelite, right? Even if it comes to servitude. For example, right here, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. Verse 10. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh thy power. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor they who? The maidservant. And then it goes on to tell you, nor thy cattle, nor the stranger within thy gates. So that would be the heathen. That would be that Gentile. So if I had a home and I had an estate, so to say, and I had maids or servants, people that mowed my lawn, people that served and waited on us in the home, people that did things around the estate or the property, they could not do those things on the Sabbath day. That would be a day that was given to them for rest because I served the Most High. So since I served the Most High, they couldn't do it on my estate or my property or inside of my gates. Now, if they go out of my gate or they go away from me and they decide to do some work somewhere else, that's on them. Will it be a sin against them? No, because that law wasn't given to them. But if they are around us or they are inside of our gates, your establishment, your home, your wherever you are, remember you are the superior one. So you have to establish the laws, the rules, and regulations that are within you or within inside of your perimeter. But if they leave outside of your perimeter and they say, well, on this day he gives me off, which is the Shabbat day, so I'm going to go and get another side job out here washing cars or something on a Shabbat. Well, I can't stop that. That's what he decided to do. And since he's not an Israelite, I mean, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But if they're going to be inside my gate or my estate, then no, you can't do any of those things. So that's the difference of it. So yes, when they're around us, when they're inside your gates, when the strangers amongst us, then they have to partake in the things that we partake in. To some aspects, and that's why it's good to go into the law to know what those aspects are. But for you, as a child of the Most High, those things that were given to you, you can't step out. You can't do those things. because those laws was given to you. That's your wisdom. That's your understanding. So, Khan, that was a great thing to bring out, Mayana Pasha. That was a great thing to bring out. So hopefully that answered the question of certain people. And this is why the whole world, let's get this and bring this out. This is why the whole world is all confused and confusion, because as it says right here on top of the screen, 2 Thessalonians 2:1, this man of lawlessness has came out into the earth. And that's why everything is in confusion. And you got all these denominations, which ain't really even serving the Most High. Oh, I'm a Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, non-denomination, Jehovah's Witness, this, that, even these camps. The churches, congregation, camps, it's just it's a hot mess. Confusion. As it says right here, let no man deceive you, brothers and sisters, by any means. Don't let nobody deceive you. Let's jump down to verse 10. It says right here, and with all deceivableness, these people are being deceived with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth. And I know it's going to be somebody who watched this, and they're not going to receive it. They're going to put a thumbs down. They're going to say he don't know what he's talking about. But all I did was read exactly what was in the Bible. Not my opinion. Everything I said, I showed it in the very word, in the book of the covenant. And you can reject it if you want. But as it says right here, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause, the Most High shall send them what? A strong delusion. Stay in your strong delusion. All I could do is bring the truth to the table. I cannot make you eat it. Like I say, you could bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. All I could do is bring it to you, lead you to the water, but I can't make you drink it. And for this cause, the Most High shall send them what? A strong delusion, that they shall believe what? A lie, brothers and sisters. Those Cushites, they believe a lie. They think that they really going to be saved and go to the kingdom. When he just told you, you Ethiopians, you Egyptians, all those people that came against the children of the Most High, and there is not a nation on the planet Earth that has not came against the children of Israel. Not one nation. People like to go to Genesis 12 with Abraham. Well, remember, Abraham said he was going to bless those that bless, but you didn't bless them. You didn't bless his children. Every nation cursed the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Verse 12, that they all might be damned who believe not what? The truth. So if you don't believe it, it's okay. When you don't believe it and you turn it down and you say, hey, that man don't know what he talking about. He ain't bringing out the right word. He this, he that. Hey, you don't want to believe the truth. It says that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had what? Pleasure in their unrighteousness. Thinking what they thought was really real. So, hey, with that, brothers and sisters, I'm going to close out. I give all praises, honor, glory, esteem to the Most High. I know my screen on my side went black, so you can't see me. But as long as you can hear the word, that's all that count. Hopefully it was edifying. If it was edifying to you in your heart, mind, and soul, please share it with someone so they can get edified. Because our brothers and sisters are scattered to the four corners of the earth, everywhere in this earth. So make sure you share it, brothers and sisters, and please hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can be notified when we go live. Once again, all praises be to the Most High Yahweh, the Ancient of Days, the Giver of Life, the Taker of Life, our Father, the water for all the people being here, Mayana Pasha, the Sister Adriana, and anybody else that may be watching and that joined in, please. And like I say, this is not to point fingers. And let me say this before I close out. Even though the Most High has a chosen people, he gave laws to a particular people. He sent his son into the earth to die for a particular people. But the Most High, he is the Ancient of Days and he is the Giver of Life. And he said, I will have mercy upon who I want to have mercy, and I will have compassion on who I want to have compassion. And if you truly believe in your heart, mind, and soul, and you believe in the Most High and His only begotten Son, never throw that away. Keep going, keep believing, and keep your faith. Because you never know if He may extend mercy to you and have compassion on you, brother and sister. With that, I give praises, honor, glory, esteem to the Father. Once again, Mayana Pashashi says, that's why the Most High say not to worship no other deities, because there are many that are for the other nations, not for Yahweh Shai. Khan. Exactly. The Aquat Adriana, she says, very edifying teaching. The water, call halal Yahweh ba Shama Mashiach Yahweh Shai, Barakatam to the Mashkapat Khan. All praises be. Right? Join in once again on the third day of the week, the fifth day of the week, and the Shabbat. For those who don't know what the third day is, that's Tuesday. You don't know what the fifth day is, that's Thursday. We just try not to say those particular names because they're attached to Greek deities. So join us again on the third day of the week. I believe that one will be at 6 p.m. if the time changed. That's why it's important to hit that bell so you can be notified. But with that, we give praises to the Ancient of Days, the giver of life, taker of life, our Father, Abinawi Yahweh, call halal Yahweh ba Shama Mashiach Yahweh Shai. And with that, I say Kwam Yasharallah, and have a beautiful Barak rest of your day. And enjoy this video as we go out. Let me share that. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share that video as we go out, close out. And as it said, Edom is happy now, but their time will come, brothers and sisters.
Yeah. The gold became them. The sons of Zion turned to dust in the street. But prophecy said Edom's joy going. Watch the flip. Tables turning sheets. How the gold turned in with a shining. Stones of the temple, they grinding. Sons of Zion, we divine black. Now the world see true, rewind it. Edom laughing, but the clock keeps slow. They rejoicing now, but they ain't gon' show. Judah still breathing, faith don't fall. Most High coming back, he reclaim gold blue. Gold turned in, but we pure in the core. Blood on the soil, they don't open that door. Zion cry out from the block to the shore. With the change to corporate war. We was kings, not slaves in chains. Built a city, now they profit our pain. Stones of the sanctuary poured in the street. Crown got cracked, but the spirit don't sleep. Famine hit hard, moms cry tears. Babes in the dust, no bread, no years. Eat them laugh loud, think judgment delayed. But the wrath coming fast, it's already in play, yeah. How the gold turned on with a shining. Stones of the temple, they grinding. Sons of Zion, we divine black. Now the world see truth, rewind it. Eat them laughing, but the clock ticks slow. They rejoicing now, but they ain't gon' show. Judah still breathing, faith don't fall. Most High coming back, he reclaim gold. Eat them real Johnson, but that joy sure live. Oh, but I wrote it, that's what it is. Payback double for the dirt they did. Prophets outside, we don't play no kid. Bred by the sword, still living on edge. Skin blacked out from the feminine dread. Wilderness heat got us counting our steps, but we still here. Never lost, never dead, we the sons here. Yeah, the fine gold testify made pure. Tribulation invest the streets filled with saints. Whole crew resurrected, judgment gon' drop, that's divine correction. How the gold turned in, we the ones they forgot. But the scroll still reads, so the story don't ride. Eat them laughing now, but the sky gon' talk. When the trumpet sound loud, every knee gon' drop. Hey, how the gold turned in with a shining. Stones of the temple, they grinding. Sons of Zion, we divine black. Now the world see true, rewinding. Eat them laughing, but the clock ticks slow. They rejoicing now, but they ain't gon' show. Judah still breathing, faith don't fall. Most High coming back, he reclaim gold fruit.